Hey, how's it going, everybody? Ben Axelrod, Nick Camino coming to you moments after the Cleveland Browns 14-7 Week 4 victory over the Minnesota Vikings. The Browns moved to 3-1 on the season, pick up their first road win of the season. They'll be back on the road next week to face the Los Angeles Chargers. And just as we've been doing throughout this season here, myself and Nick are going to give you our takes from the game. And Nick, let's start with you. What was your big takeaway here from the Browns Week 4 win?
I just think it was a total team win, Ben. I mean, clearly Baker Mayfield was not that great. I mean, it was probably definitely his worst game of the season. You probably have to go back to last season. I think I saw one of your tweets, maybe the first half of last season. I mean, it just wasn't that good. So the good news is for them, though, they were able to run the ball well. They were able to kind of control the line of scrimmage a bit. And the defense played well after that opening drive. I mean, after that opening drive, when it looked like it was too easy for the Vikings, the Browns only gave up 7 points. I mean, they didn't give up any points the rest of the game after that drive. So they win 14-7. It wasn't the prettiest game of all time, but you're going to have that in the NFL. Just look throughout the slate today of NFL action. There's some ugly wins in there, but ask any of those teams, they'll take them. So as you pointed out, the Browns are 3-1. It's a good place to be, and you move on to the next game.
Yeah, it's cliche, but this really is, to me, just a win is a win type of game. You get the W, especially on the road. One thing I'll disagree with you on, though, is you said this was a complete victory or a team victory. I thought this was more on the defense. I thought this really was even a more impressive effort than the Browns had last week when they stifled Justin Fields with the 9 sacks. I thought the Browns just, looking at the situations they put Kirk Cousins in after that first drive, just a dominant performance for this Browns defense. So I think that's the positive is, especially missing Greg Newsome in this game. Greedy Williams comes up with an interception. I thought in all phases of the defense, the Browns played pretty good. And then offensively, man, they've got to figure out this Baker Mayfield thing, because that was not just a couple of bad throws. He was off for the entire game. And, I think that going up against Kirk Cousins, you can kind of deal with that. I think they're going to need to put up a lot more points to beat Justin Herbert, to beat Kyler Murray here in these next couple of weeks. This is a tough stretch of the schedule the Browns have coming up. And really, I would say it started with today. So you take the win, you move on. But, man, I don't know if it's the shoulder. I don't know if this was just a bad game for Baker or what. But they've got to figure this thing out here, because the road only gets tougher here. But you take the W, you move to 3-1, and that's exactly what the Browns will do. Like I said, heading into next week's game.
And it's not very often that you and I sit here and talk about special teams, but the punt was pretty busy today. And the kicker, how about Chase McLaughlin? I mean, I think, the Browns have finally put to bed their kicking problem. It seems like he can stay here. And I mean, that guy's done a really nice job. It's not often you and I are talking about kickers, but he made 2 big ones today.
Yeah, you're right. And this is a guy who really was on the roster bubble when the Browns cut down to 53. People were wondering, are they going to try to find another kicker? Are they just going to leave a kicker off the roster completely and field one later in the offseason? So you're right. I mean, this is 2 weeks in a row now, not only for this defense, but for Chase McLaughlin. And, maybe this is some sort of identity for the Browns, where they play great defense and they win in special teams and they figure it out as they go on offense. So we'll see. I think it's going to be a tall task next week against this Chargers offense with Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. But that's a story for next week. So that's going to do it for us here on 3 News YouTube page. Thanks for watching here on WKYC.com.